Hello everybody, we are here at the contested case hearings going on, and we've had a lot of questions from the public as well as supporters about what's the latest status of the 30-meter telescope project. We did have a chance to talk to project manager Gary Sanders. Now, Gary is in charge of the design and construction of the 30-meter telescope, and this is what he had to say.
My role as a witness in this contested case is to describe the design and the efforts that we're making to mitigate the impacts of both the construction and the operation of TMT on Mauna Kea.
So that's good points.
Right. Early on we recognized that Mauna Kea, being a sensitive place, one in which the public recognizes the cultural values of Mauna Kea, but also the visual impacts of a large observatory, we took efforts in the design to reduce those impacts. We want to accomplish our science, but the idea was to reduce the size of the observatory to make it less visible. The Keck telescope is really the design basis for TMT. It's a 10-meter diameter segmented mirror telescope. Ours is a 30-meter diameter segmented mirror telescope. But instead of making the telescope with the same optical design as Keck, which would make a much longer telescope and a 260-foot high dome, we decided to make our mirrors more curved, shortening the telescope, and now our dome design is only about 185 feet tall. So we have a much smaller observatory with much less impact on Mauna Kea. Right. In addition to shortening the telescope, which allows you to make a smaller dome, I actually made sure that the dome was really shrunk down around the telescope with only a 20-inch space between the dome and the telescope. And we used flaps on the opening of the dome so as to create a wind shadow instead of making the dome bigger and making a wind shadow. A wind would shake the telescope, so we need a wind shadow. Right. In addition to making the dome as small as possible, we studied the options of making the dome white, which is very often used, or tan to match the rock around, or moderately reflective. And what we found is if you make it moderately reflective, painting it with moderately reflective paint, the dome from a distance reflects the color of the light from the surroundings and is less visible. And that's another step we've taken to make TMT less visible. I think the most important way in which we're going to mitigate the impact on Mauna Kea, especially over the long time horizon, is we're only going to use the material on Mauna Kea. We're going to cut material from the site and use it to fill other parts of the site to make it level. We'll use some of the cut material on the road to make the road level, and if there's anything left over, we will store it at the batch plant area on the mountain for use later when TMT is removed 50 years after its lifetime to restore the site. And we're not bringing in foreign material except for the paving, which will be removed. So that's one of the ways to respect Mauna Kea. So at the same time we're working on the possibility of building in Hawaii, I and the team have been exploring other sites, and we're working with the authorities in the Canary Islands where there's a mountain, La Palma, and we're working on the permits and environmental review and all of the other things we need.
So as Gary mentioned, while TMT is looking at all their options, Mauna Kea still remains their first choice to build the 30-meter telescope. Now, if you want to keep up to date on what's going on in these contested case hearings, we do have Facebook updates. We also have a blog on the hearing dates, and you can check it out at our website at maunakeaandtmt.org. So until next time, hope to see you then.